men say that women do not love them unconditionally. They say that women only love them for what they are bringing to the table. They say women only want them for their money. But my opinion is that men are the reason why women think this way. They are the ones who make themselves out to be ATMs. They are the ones who make it out to be that all they have to offer is money. And I'll be honest that it's actually very, very limiting for men. But before I go further, listen to this clip.
80% of marriages and divorce initiated by women, but the man is still legally obligated to support their ex-wives. Why aren't the wives legally obligated to support the man sexually? With the money hit on the first, I need to be hitting too.
If you could get on the first.
Ain't you speaking of alimony, right?
Alimony, yeah.
See, if we really want to talk like where it came from, alimony originated back when women couldn't work. I think honestly we've like elevated emotionally, but the laws haven't. But I think you can't take somebody's body to court. You know,
I kind of agree with him that alimony was there when wives weren't working, and the culture has changed. We have women that are working as well. But I think this thing is already taken into consideration in the courts about the wife or the ex-wife's financial capabilities. Of course, I think this thing's already come to play in the court's decision about spousal support or alimony. However, I think the part he misses is that whether a woman is working outside the home or at home, many women are still taking an unfair share of the physical, mental, emotional load of raising children, managing the home, and every other thing around the marriage.
The disconnect here is we cannot equate a woman's body to money and monetary gain.
Yes.
Clock it. There will never be a time where a woman's body is what is being peddled for money, unless it's something she wants to do. You see, that's where consent comes into the equation. You can't take sex from a woman unless she wants to give it to you. And then she's going to agree on the terms and conditions, and that's a new contract. It has nothing to do with alimony.
And that's where men start losing women. I do agree that there is an imbalance in women constantly wanting men for money, and there's nothing else that they have the desire for from a man. But to say that just because you pay for my dinner means that we are supposed to have sex, not only is it disrespectful to the intention of sex, it's also disrespectful to the woman, it's disrespectful to her body, it's disrespectful to all of the emotions that go in, it's disrespectful to the connection. So I think we have to be very careful when we are equating money and thinking that that means that you have to give something in return.
Look, money is not what gives you access to sex. I need you to get that out of your minds, man. Stop doing this. It's very limiting for men. It's actually very demeaning for men to think that money solves everything, that money gives you access to everything. You are not just about money. And I think you guys are the ones who make women think you're all about the money because that's all you want to give. Money should be the minimum that you want to give. Don't make it the whole substance of your being. All right, so let's get into my take. So basically, this man is asking a question. If a man is required to pay alimony, why isn't he entitled to sex from his ex-wife? You see, this is a very troubling mindset. This statement is not just wrong on all levels. It reveals a deep misunderstanding of marriage, consent, labor, and masculinity itself. First things first, we need to understand that alimony is back pay, not forward pay. It's not a new arrangement as such. Alimony is not payment for future services. It's not a subscription fee. It's not compensation for access. Alimony is actually there to settle past unpaid contributions made in good faith during a marriage. You see, in many marriages, one spouse, which is usually the woman, contributes in ways that are not directly monetized. She sacrifices her career or stagnates in her career. There's childbirth and there's childcare. There's pregnancy too. There's emotional and domestic labor. And there's support during a partner's earning and building years. And usually, this workload falls more on the women than the men. These contributions were made with the expectation that the marriage will be long-term, mutually beneficial, and stable. Now, the problem arises when the marriage ends. And now to fix the problem, this is alimony. For some women, they've given too long, too much, that they actually can't get back into the workforce at all. And for some, when they do enter into the workforce, they are entering very late, on a very low cadre. You find them struggling with people that are not in the same age with them. So then you start to see ageism when it comes to them getting a job. Sometimes they are so out of sync in that career path that they really can't do anything with it. They're so disillusioned. So alimony functions as a settlement for the work she has already put in the marriage. You see, when she wasn't working outside the home, she was working in the home. But she wasn't getting paid. And because she thought she was building something, she probably wasn't counting the cost of her labor. But now she needs to, because the structure she was building suddenly cannot hold any longer as it is. It's changing. And now that structure needs to take care of her as well. So alimony is for work already done. It's actually an old debt coming due. It's not a new contract being formed. So when the man says, if I'm paying alimony, why don't I get sex? Now he's talking about entitlement. You see, sex is about consent. It's about participation. It's about intimacy of two people. I don't even understand why somebody no longer wants to be your wife, or you no longer want someone to be your wife, but you want to be in her body. Is this craziness or is it not? I'm saying that somebody doesn't even want you in her life. She doesn't want you in her house. She doesn't want you. She doesn't want your presence. But you're there hustling to have yourself be deep inside the moistness of her body. Why? Is this self-hate? Is it self-hate? Why are you on a table where you're not wanted? And then even if it was a case of the man being the one who doesn't want the marriage anymore, it has to be mental illness that you do not want the woman, but you want her hoo-ha. Why do you think you're entitled to her hoo-ha? If sex, for any reason, were ever to be involved after a divorce, it will have to be new labor. It will have to require new consent. Oh yeah, it will have to require a new terms and conditions and new compensation. Not that alimony. At that point, the arrangement will no longer be marriage. It will actually be sex work. So you see how flawed that thinking is, because you do not pay a past debt and demand new labor in return if you're not a thief. Alimony settles history. Sex belongs in the present. Conflating the two doesn't just make sense. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous mindset. This mindset assumes that financial provision creates sexual entitlement. It assumes that, okay, because you have money, and then you are getting a woman's body. Who told you that? This kind of mindset also assumes that a woman's body is part of the marital settlement. You see, honestly, I'm of the school of thought that marriage is where you should get your sexual fulfillment and satisfaction, both as a man and as a woman. I'm a Christian. I believe in not defrauding each other of your bodies. I believe that sex should be consensual, sex should be mutually enjoyed, and sex should not be weaponized. But I also understand that even if you're married, you cannot take it if the other person doesn't want it. Whether you live in a culture where that recognizes marital rape or not, there's something diabolical about forcing yourself on a spouse that doesn't want you or doesn't want it in that moment, or doesn't want you at all. There are other ways to address the matter than forcing yourself. Again, this mindset around this question this man asked assumes that money continues to guarantee you access even after relationship ends. Recently, there was an allegation about a certain star that was paying child support and was insisting on having access sexually to the mother of his child until she refused, and then he withheld child support. This is crazy. Hoo-ha is not a reward for your payment. If you want hoo-ha to pay for, then go look for a proper sex worker. You see, this whole mindset is not partnership. If this is a marriage, to think that paying alimony should entitles you to sex from the ex, that means there was never a partnership. You were there to take. You are there to own, and you do not own a person, even if you're married to the person. You see, because you own the person, you think that you have consent every time, you have access every time to sleep with this person. But you know what's most worrisome is that this sort of mindset is limiting for men. It shrinks men. This way of thinking doesn't just objectify the women and reduce her to a body for money. It actually even reduces the men who think like this. Every time money is mentioned and sex is the immediate association in your head, it exposes a very narrow, very limiting view of masculinity. If you're saying a man's value is reduced to his wallet, that's a problematic thought process. But this is what this sort of mindset is consolidating. It's also saying that intimacy is reduced to a transaction. This mindset is also saying that desire is replaced with leverage. This mindset strips men of emotional depth. It strips them of relational leadership. It strips them of true intimacy. And it strips them of the dignity of being chosen. Being chosen for you. And not because of what you can pay. There's nothing healthy about that mindset. Sex flows from connection, not from coercion. I don't even understand people who enjoy sex that is something you had to bargain for. You had to force a hand or force a body. It's control. Men need to change this mindset. Men have to learn to separate financial responsibility from sexual entitlement. I think men are better than that. And men need to recognize unpaid labor as real labor. Men need to also understand that consent is ongoing and not transferable. Men need to see marriage as mutual investment, not just transaction or purchase. The bottom line is that marriage creates a shared life, shared economic consequences too. And you see, at the end of the marriage, alimony exists to address the shared economic part of that life. If someone believes money entitles them to a body, they're revealing a very poor understanding of love, labor, and humanity. And it points to what kind of marriage or what kind of partner that this person was in the marriage. It points to what kind of dysfunction that this person brought to the marriage. So that's all for today. I'll see you next time. Ciao.